I realistically probably would have ended up dead.
He's turned to me and said, "Mommy, this has taken away my childhood. Please do something to help me."
It was the ultimate message to us that our daughter just could not take it anymore.
But say your child got cancer. There's a system in place to effectively take your hand and help you navigate through that diagnosis and the steps that you can take and the supports that are in place to help you help your child through that world. I consider the diagnosis that my child has as equally a life or death kind of diagnosis.
In the province of Ontario, there is unfortunately not enough funding and support for residential treatment programs, intensive outpatient treatment programs for youth with mental health and addiction problems. Many youth suffer from both and need both elements of care.
So right now, the biggest problem in the system is it is not a system. Agencies all across Ontario work and function, for the most part, as islands.
There's a huge gap in people that don't necessarily need inpatient admission, but need intensive care and intensive treatment, and not just for a day or two or a week or two until they're discharged home safe, but until they start to make real progress.
There's 12,000 kids on wait lists right now in the province of Ontario. So just think about the fact that some of those wait lists are 12, 18 months long. Imagine what happens to a kid who's very, very ill in 12 or 18 months. They become more ill. And we know the more ill kids get, the harder it is to get them well again.
I've had an 11-year-old child sitting in a 10 by 10 room in emergency, waiting to be seen and waiting for a bed for 55 hours.
They end up in emergency departments all across the province. Emergency rooms are the worst place for kids when they're in a psychiatric crisis. Kids don't stay well because there's no follow-up, there's no aftercare.
And unfortunately, when you don't treat them in an integrated and holistic way, you don't really provide them with the intervention that will hopefully alter their life trajectory in a positive way.
When I went to treatment, my life looked like I had two options that I saw as being realistic. One of them being I killed myself, and the other one being I ran away from home and just threw myself into something like sex work.
When it became more and more apparent how deep it was, I mean, it's like watching a train wreck because you can't stop it. You want what's best for your child, but when a system exists where you can't get that help when you need it, you feel helpless.
So the opportunity is to build a beautiful state-of-the-art center here in North Toronto. We are hoping to build a 50-bed facility. We will dedicate 25 of those beds to the province of Ontario.
The hope is it manages the most severe, the most in need. If we don't deal with the mental health and addiction tsunami in our adolescents, it's going to impact their lives, their families' lives, and in the end, society's lives.
So we want to raise money through the New Start Foundation to build the Sunnybrook New Start Center for Youth. So we need donations for sure to make this happen, and we need a commitment from the provincial government for operational funding.
We have to act early, and the earlier you act, the more impact we can have.
But I've been a social worker for 30 years. I deal with kids and families all the time that are lost and scared, and we know how to get them well and keep them well, and we're not doing it. This could make a huge difference, not only to Toronto, but to the entire province.
If this program can discharge over 520 cases in a year, that may sound like a small number, but I can tell you that is a phenomenal contribution to our community.
We have the medical expertise, we have the professional aptitude, we have the know-how, we just have to have the will.
My biggest hope is that these kids return to a productive life.
This facility needs to happen because our kids deserve better. Our kids deserve to get the treatment that they need when they need it.